on with your guys' stuff from last week. Madeline grades for me, except for exams and big stuff that she doesn't want to grade. Have you guys looked in Blackboard recently? Are the quizzes from last week graded?
I don't remember.
Okay, they're
I
not.
don't think anything, no.
Okay.
Since that last update you sent.
Which was Saturday, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
Okay, so something weird is happening with the emails I'm sending to her. She's not getting attachments from me for some reason. I don't know why. So I told her, well, I'll just knock out the grade. She's like, no, I want to do the grading. I'm like, okay, fine, it's cool. You get paid hourly for it. But I may have to actually physically hand off a key for her to use to do your project and everything from last week. If it gets ridiculous over the next 24 hours, I'll do it myself, just so you guys get your grades back quickly. But I really would, I mean, if she wants the hours, and I want to give her the hours, obviously, I may have to actually physically get her a key. I don't know why her attachments would be, she's getting my emails, but nothing's coming attached to it, so I don't know what's going on there. The last one I sent to her, actually sent to 2 different emails, and I copied and pasted the key into the email. So hopefully, I haven't heard back from her to see what's going on with that. Hopefully we'll get something through. But I'll get that as ASAP to you guys back. Did you guys try the quizzes for this week?
One of them.
One of them. Okay, I put 2 up, right?
Yeah.
And they were both the hypothesis testing. One was the New York Times. You had to link out to a test. I think you did. Did anybody do that one? It's like blue and yellow circles test. Didn't that? And the other one was the Bend AP pass rate. Good. That's what you did. I'm assuming, Brad. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. The other one, you had to actually do an experiment to collect some data, which could have possibly been annoying if you didn't feel like sitting through 20 trials of an experiment. So, and you guys just use a template and scan the template in.
I
Or-
brought mine because I was having.
Oh, but we'll take care of it. That's okay. We'll take care of it then. That's not a problem. And that was all we'll do this week with those 2 quizzes, right?
I was going to ask if you actually you don't have a link for that sheet.
I don't. That's, and that's why I think I didn't put it in the schedule pages. I should have if I didn't. Let me email myself right now and put a link up for that, for the PDF, so you can print a copy. But you can always just take one of these and scan it in and send that in, submit that as your.
Right.
But I should have it linked too. You're right, Ryan. You're right. Let me do that while you're mentioning it to me. So anyway, I apologize for the hiccup between last weekend being as crazy as it was and whatever's going on with my email to Madeline. We're having a little bit of a delay getting this stuff back to you guys. So anyway, we'll get it squared away ASAP, I promise. Hopefully it's not inconvenient to you guys more than, I know it is a little bit. Hopefully it's not unbearable. What else? Your 4th project is not linked yet. You have a project due next week on linear regression. It is an Excel spreadsheet. What you're going to be doing in that one is, you'll be actually opening up the Excel spreadsheet that's with the project and sending me, yes, Tyler's here, now the party can start.
Yeah.
And sending me an Excel spreadsheet. I doubt very much that will be previewable in Blackboard because it's not one of those supported file types that it likes. It likes docs and it likes PDFs. So, to new test rule. There we go. Excellent. Take care of that, Brian. Thank you for the idea. So even if it doesn't preview, just submit the Excel, and we'll just have to crack open each Excel document outside of Blackboard and grade it that way. I'll probably end up doing that one because it's too much of a pain in the ass for Madeline to do. So just so you know, I don't want you taking screenshots of Excel. That's too much of a pain. Yes, excellent. So I don't want you taking screenshots in Excel. Yay! You guys are making your way in. I know you're not happy to be here. I'm happy to see you, especially because you're safe. You're safe and you're smiling, so that's makes me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Wait for them to clear the gate so you get into the parking lot.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I kind of figure we'll be traipsing in slowly. And I told everybody, if you guys want to bail out of here early, of course, to get a jump start on the change of classes, by all means. If this is your only class, or if you have a big gap between classes, I'll be videotaping everything, so you can watch it later. So yeah, that's your project for next week. It's Excel. It's what the project is on is linear regressions, and the way you've done linear regressions in the past, if you've done them in the past, was with a TI, where you fed data in and got a best fit line. You're using Excel to do them now, which is how anybody would do them in the real world if you were doing a regression. But I've also set it up. It bridges the gap between hypothesis testing and just the linear regression you did in like Math 111 or whatever, or Math 105, in that it gives you a statistical model to test whether or not your gut is seeing data correctly. I often think of Math 244 as, I've got a hunch about something, and it gives you a tool to measure that hunch a little bit. And as I'm designing your last exam, which is not due for weeks, I've got a really fun example. That CPR example is one that always comes to mind. Like, I had a hunch about the data that I saw, and it turns out my hunch wasn't quite right. It was close to being right, but it wasn't quite right statistically. And I love being able to come up with models of that. That project you're doing next week, it's kind of like a hypothesis test, but it's not, in that you use something called an R value, which is called the Pearson's correlation coefficient. Oh my God. Sorry, my feet are really hot. So you're going to use Excel to calculate this R coefficient to figure out whether or not your gut, if you look at a set of data and go, that looks like it's linear, that looks like it's rising linearly, then you're going to use Excel to double check your gut to see if the mathematics says, yes, it is linear enough or not. Does that make sense? So it's all based in Excel. Every bit of it's based in Excel, and you'll email me the Excel sheet when you're done. Some of it you have to type into boxes, type your answers, like type words into boxes, but most of it's just filling in, putting data, making scatter. You'll learn how to make a scatter plot in Excel if you don't know how to do it already. I got a video to help you if you get stuck. So anyway, that's next week. I'll put some quizzes up for you guys for next week too. Although I don't expect you to do a whole lot because you have a project due. And we'll have more in-class ones to do as well to make up. I've been watching you guys' quiz numbers come in. They're doing just fine as far as getting them in. Your last project is this close to being done. On Tuesday, I came in and spent 5 hours, and the only thing it needs now is a final proofread and a cartoon that Max is going to help me draw. Very excited about this. So it's going to be a good one. I'm totally stoked. I'm sitting there typing away. I'm like, oh, wait, I know what this needs. It needs wolves and it needs yelling. And I was like, I know just the kid to help me do it. So I called him and I said, Max, draw me a wolf. And Jen took a picture and sent it to him like, yes, that's what I need. I need a bunch of those. You'll see what I'm talking about when you see the project. So I guess that's it as far as that kind of stuff goes. Yeah? Decent? Glad to be here. I'm stoked you're here. Good. So today, I want to look at where we're going next. And really the rest of the course is just developing more tests as we need them. To bring up an example, a colleague of mine in the HHP department is working on her PhD right now, and she just sent me, it reminded me of the test we looked at in here a couple weeks ago with the cyclist and the caffeine. She's measuring 2 different levels of intensity of exercise and 3 different hormones in the body, and seeing if there's a difference in hormone levels at various times during vigorous exercise and during medium exercise, and she's defined them pretty well. Pretty stoked about that. And she's got time points, every 0, 20, 40, and 60 minutes, and she's trying to see if there's a difference in the 2 levels of exercise and the hormones produced. And she sent me an email, she's like, is this a t-test? Because it's one of those things like, you have data and you have to know how to deal with it, right? So you get this data, like the data we looked at last week. We looked at the death rate in Florida. We looked at flu rates. We looked at infants' loss of appetite rates. In your quiz, if you did the quiz, you looked at the Ben AP pass rate. If you look at the other quiz, which it sounds like nobody did, that's okay. You look at the rate at which you scored correctly on an assessment. Did anybody do the blue and yellow circles quiz? Oh, good, Anna, you did too. Good, good, good. So that one, it's what percent did you get correct, and then you compare that percent. In each of those tests, you compare that percentage back to some given percent. Whether it was the nationwide AP pass rate, whether it was, I forget, 75% I think was the average given on that quiz. Yes, thank you, Anna. Yep, absolutely. Each of those had like a percentage you were comparing your data to. So you can see the difference when Stephanie sent me her email about her exercise. It's not a percentage. It's a level of a hormone. So it becomes a different measurement, which means we can't use the same test to analyze. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I couldn't even make it a percentage if I wanted to. And I don't want to. I want to deal with the data on its own terms. I'd rather not do crazy conversions on data. So here's what I want to do right now. I can turn this off actually. Get a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper if you'd be so kind. You can leave it in your notebook. This you won't turn in. This is going to be the data. We're going to collect some data, right? You can actually use the back. What might be the easiest thing to use is use the back of one of your hypothesis test sheets. That might be the easiest thing because it's blank already. Just use that. Anybody need some more of those? We've got plenty of copies up here if you guys need them. And just take your pencil and just draw a dot somewhere on it. Near the middle, I guess.